LoCascio. Today my guest is Tony Ocean. He's been called the ultimate crowd pleaser, another addition to the great line of Italian singers, and he's a legendary Chicago lounge act. Tony, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Vince? Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you here. Let's start off a little bit. We'll go back to the beginning, to the roots. You were born in Italy?
Yeah, I was born in a little town called Lucca, Alto Pascio. I'm a Toscano Italian.
And about how old were you when you came here?
I think about 4 years old when we came here. Yeah, my father worked for a United Baking Company, which later became Gonella Baking Company.
On Cicero Avenue?
Damon, yeah.
On Damon. There was a couple, I guess. That's where I grew up, right there, too. And then moved to, you were in the village of Cicero?
Yeah, I moved to Cicero when he was working at United, and then later on we moved to Elmwood Park.
Nice. People that are familiar with your act and your singing and all that knows there's a very, very strong influence. And you were speaking Italian and English at the same time when you were younger?
My mother was teaching me Italian, and my father was teaching me English at the same time. So I can read it and write it, too.
And what about your formal training? You've had lessons, singing lessons?
I didn't have any singing lessons. The only singing I did when I was a kid was in choir, in school and stuff. But my grandfather was an opera singer, too.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I think that's where I got it from. But that's the only thing that technically training that I got was actually just in the choir schools, in high school.
Nice. I know, to take it out of context, but I know you sang for the Pope.
Yeah, with our high school choir class at Elmwood Park.
So I say I like to take it out of context because I like to have this vision of just you singing,
just me singing
one-on-one on the Pope.
Yeah.
Nice. Here's
it was a great experience, actually.
Which Pope was it?
God, I think it was Pope Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been. I was in high school, so it had to be. I graduated in '81. I think it was junior year. So.
And you've always had this love, this passion for singing, because it shows. I mean.
Always had the pleasure for all types of music. Like I said, when I first started, I started doing like rock and roll music, which I was brought up with growing up, but I always loved the Sinatra, Rat Pack type of stuff. So it was always in my blood,
So you started. You were telling me you were singing at the age of 15.
My first professional paying gig when I was 15 years old at a place in Stone Park. But since you couldn't be in the bar, you needed to be 21, I only got to be in the bar on stage. And when I was on break, I had to sit in the parking lot till they can bring me back in for the next show.
Nice.
So it was kind of cool. Everybody was a lot older with me, the guys back.
And you were always the lead singer?
Always the lead singer.
Did you play any instruments too?
No, I don't know.
What do I talk about? Well, you mentioned the rock aspect of it, but you were in the band. I know they had changed names a few times, but it called the Dream Police?
I've had a couple different bands. Dream Police was one of the bands that we played in, and we did the whole bar circuit, college circuit. We took it as far as we can. Then we had a band called Big Band Rodeo in 1313, which got me on Star Search.
Oh, tell me a little bit about Star Search.
That was kind of cool. We did a showcase for Steve Dahl from The Loop, and he hooked us up with Gene Simmons from the rock group Kiss, and he sent it to some guys from South by Southwest. It's an organization where agents and people come and see people perform, and the guy from Star Search liked us and flew us down, and we lost by a quarter of a point, but we got to stay there the whole week. We did a bunch of shows at that Pleasure Island afterwards, but it was a great experience. A lot of fun.
So you're used to the road then? I mean,
I love the road. I love hotels. A lot of people don't, but I like it.
And then a big transition took place from the rock to the Sinatra thing. How did that come about?
Well, I always liked the Sinatra music, and the rock thing I always liked too, but at that time, nobody in my age group or other musicians in my group didn't want to play the Sinatra Rat Pack stuff, So when I got a chance to try the backing track formula, which came around a few years later, I jumped on that road and it worked from there.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that if we can talk about it.
Sure.
I know it was a change because you were one of the first entertainers that I saw using what did you call the backtracking?
Yeah, I think I was probably one of the first guys in Chicago doing it, but it started actually the old TV shows, if you remember Solid Gold and some of the old talk shows that you used to see when they performed. They never performed live. Back then I think Saturday Night Live was one of the ones you would perform live, or the Midnight Special was. And then when Vegas, I think the musicians went on strike years ago, and then some of the acts started using the backing vocal tracks, and that's how it just came about.
Yeah. But now today, because we talked earlier, you're what's 50-50 about what you're doing with live or
Yeah.
a full band?
Right. I always play the 50% with a live full band, which we're getting rid of most of the backing shows, the backing track stuff. We're basically more trying to do more live shows. But right now, 50% with a nice band, and then 50% with the backing tracks.
And what great bands you have. I mean, the ones that I've seen you play with.
Well, the musicians are great. We have a bunch of variety of different guys we use, and the band is a pretty good group. So it plays a little bit of everything, which is good for me.
Yeah. And mentioning the Pack is Back, has it always been the same members?
Yeah, well, it started up at a little theater with Nick Fortuna, who is the brother of, Frank Fortuna, which is the brother of Nick Fortuna from the Buckinghams. And they were doing a show, and it's a Frank Sinatra guy, and they were looking for a Dean Martin because they had a Sammy. So I tried out for the show, and it worked. And then Ron Onesti, a promoter from the Chicagoland area, bought the show called The Pack is Back to Piper's Alley, which ran successfully for about 4 years. So it was kind of cool. We had different Sinatras. We had Ron Hawking, was one of the first guy that started out with us. And then we had Bill Acosta, great Vegas singer still. And then we had Bobby Caldwell, the great jazz guy. But the guy we've always been using and still do, and the best Frank, I think, is Jack D'Amico that we use.
It's a big compliment coming from you.
Yeah, Jack's a good guy.
And you always did Dean Martin?
Always played Dean Martin.
I mean, because I know I've heard you do Sammy's voice and stuff.
I do different voices, but in the show, basically, we do the Dean Martin thing. Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you about is the material for the backpack. Was that, do you guys ad lib? Is that part of the show, or is it a show that they did?
Most of the material that we use is basically taken from some of their live performances. The Villa Venice, which they did in 1962 in the Chicagoland
That was
area.
Here, yeah.
Yeah.
Over by there.
Over there. And then some of their Vegas shows. So most of the format, which the jokes were written by Joey Bishop, who was a member of the Rat Pack. So and that's basically it. We don't ad-lib too much at all, and which is kind of cool because we keep the show to the roots and of what it should be like, which is, some people find it a little offensive sometimes, and some people don't. But you have to remember when you're seeing the show, it's a timepiece back in the 60s, and that's what we're doing. So we're trying to bring back the memory of
I don't know if you want to share with me about being down in Florida.
You mean in Aruba? I was in Aruba
there
we played up there 18 weeks at the Alhambra Casino. We used to do all the time. And at the end of one of the shows, we were sitting at the pool the next day, and some lady came up to me and said, I love the show, but some of it was a little offensive, And she was of Jewish faith, this lady. And at the time, I was listening on my headset to the show, just trying to learn some new material. I go, ma'am, you have a few minutes? And she goes, yeah. So I gave her the headset, she put it on, and she realized it was the three individuals that were saying the exact jokes, which all the jokes were written by Joey Bishop. So she understood it then, and which is nice because people have to realize that they were just about loving each other. All the ribs and digs that they did was only because they loved Sammy, they loved Frank, and they just all love each other. It was great camaraderie.
Yeah. If they tried to do a show today, they wouldn't be able to talk.
Well, there is other Vegas shows out there. There's Rat Pack shows, but they bring it to the point where they're very politically correct, and they use humor that probably would not fit at that time. So, but to each his own. It's good.
Yeah. And then, back to your career itself, you have a couple original songs that you've written as well?
I haven't written the songs, but they were written for me. There's one we do called Come Out Tonight, which was on our live Park West CD, which we put out with the Jillies organization, and it was for Jerry Lewis Telethon. We raised over $90,000 for Jerry's kids. So one of the songs that we put, and then we put it on my Pardon My Past CD, which was my last one on Nation Records. And I've got 7 total CDs, but the 2 important ones are Pardon My Past and the brand new one, which is Me and Mrs. Jones, which is on Nation Records, which is doing pretty well, so it's kind of nice.
And the video, if you're interested in finding out, which I'm sure a lot of people are, can be found on tonyocean.net.
Right, on YouTube you can see the Me and Mrs. Jones video in entirety, yeah.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about the making of that? Because it's quite a spectacular video.
It's a great video. It was directed by Phil Vaughn, who's actually my manager. And for many years I've been getting the request to do this Me and Mrs. Jones song. Now, it's a great song. You get people to come up to me, hey, Tony, can you do this for my wife? It's her favorite song. Can you do this for my husband? But I don't think they listen to the words because the song is basically about two unhappy people that are married. And any chance they get, they try to get together and meet at a park or a restaurant. And every day at the same time, they try to meet, like this particular song, 6:30 at the cafe. And in the video we shot in the Rosemont Park there, which was kind of nice. And Olivia Trippi was a girl who played Mrs. Jones. And it was kind of interesting how the whole thing went about. But it came out really cool. And the concept was really nice.
Yeah. Well, I got to ask you, I mean, according to the lyrics, same day, same time, same cafe. Where's Mr. Jones? He's
probably working nights, I think. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Let me ask you a little bit about, I know you've played everywhere. You played Las Vegas, New York, Hollywood. But your roots are in Chicago. Chicago's become a great place for entertainment and a great avenue for you.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of great cities, and they all have great entertainment venues. Chicago's a great entertainment venue, and I'm very fortunate to do a lot of dates, 5 nights a week, and I've been very fortunate to do that. And they give you a chance to have live entertainment, which is cool. Some places don't do. Like Florida has entertainment 7 nights a week. New York has entertainment 7 nights a week. But there's certain cities that don't. And Chicago's been very good to me.
Yeah. And have you played cruises as well? You've done the
Did a bunch of cruise ships. And Vegas was nice. And we're going back there in October, so I'm excited about that. And it's just nice to go around and entertain all over and try to get the word out, especially with what we're trying to do, Vince, actually, compared to all the Rat Pack stuff, which is great. And I'm always going to keep doing the Dean Martin, Rat Pack stuff, Frank Sinatra stuff. But the new CD, Me and Mrs. Jones, is a different format. It's all great love songs. Blues songs, rhythm and blues songs, passionate love songs, and that's what it's about. I'm not trying to get away from the Sinatra stuff. It's always going to be part of my show. But this format that me and Phil want to try to do is try to reboot myself to get some of the newer generation to listen to some of the new stuff. And that's what the new CD is about.
Yeah, well, keeping it fresh.
Keeping it fresh. That's what we're
You know what's great about your shows, too, is that you can hear everything from Sinatra, and then the next thing you're doing Bon Jovi songs.
Yeah. So we're trying to, when I first started, I just strictly wore the tuxedo, and I did all this typical Sinatra, Tony Bennett, Rat Pack stuff. But I always had that rock and roll roots in my background. So one day at a couple of shows, I started throwing some of these songs out. The Rod Stewart, the Joe Cocker, the dance disco songs.
Tom
Jones, and it just caught on. So basically now it's 10% Sinatra stuff, and we're doing more of the dance stuff and more pop stuff. But we're trying to we want everybody, no matter how old you are, to come in to enjoy the show.
Yeah, and what a following you have.
God bless. I've been very fortunate with that. The website's helped me tremendously, the TonyOcean.net, and the new direction that we're going in. The people are very loyal. It's been I've been very blessed.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you could take an empty bar and fill it if the people know it was empty 1 week, but they know if you're going to be there, there's a
Well, you know
big
what's
following.
one of the good things, I don't know if it's good things about it, there's a lot of great entertainers in the Chicagoland area. And a lot of people, I think the reason why they bring me in a lot of times also because I have a good drinking crowd, which is important.
That's the idea.
In the restaurants,
right?
It's important because that's where they make most of their money on is the alcohol and the rest. So I've been very fortunate with that. So it's been good.
Once again, back to the variety. I remember being at one of the shows, and you were doing I think it is called "It's My Life."
Yeah, by Bon Jovi, sure.
And all the old ladies in the crowd knew the song.
They're up and dancing too. It's amazing. Well, of course, Bon Jovi's also international. Everybody loves him. But yeah, it's amazing how that works. I do Jilly's 3 nights a week downtown. That's Jilly's down on Rush Street, and people that come there, for instance. It's people from all over the world.
Yeah.
You get, like last night I had New Zealand, Ireland, Scotland. I mean, there's the regulars that might have come into certain bars now, especially because it is on Rush Street. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably one of the only places that has entertainment 7 nights a week. And it's also the only place that has entertainment on that whole strip.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, they do have the back room, which does like jazz and blues stuff. But that one there, people can walk by, they leave the Hugo's or Gibson's or all these different restaurants, and they can come and see the music there.
And what a great ambassador of Chicago you are.
Well,
You know, I'm
thank
sure
you.
all those people from different countries, they come, they say, you know, I'm going to Chicago.
Yeah, all the concierges will send them to Jilly's also because, you know, it's Jilly's is like a landmark too. You know, it was Jilly Rizzo, Frank Sinatra's bodyguard and very best friend. And it's a lot of fun. So you get to play with a different crowd every night of the week, which is really cool.
Yeah. Did you ever have the pleasure, or should I say, did Sinatra ever have the pleasure of meeting you?
No, I got to meet Frank once in an elevator, but that was it. I got to meet Tony Bennett. That was kind of cool. Don Rickles, I've done a few shows with Don.
Oh, yeah.
Pat Cooper, I've done some shows
Pasquale
with him.
Caputo.
Yes. Last year we did a show with Dina Martin, which was really cool. Dean Martin's daughter. We did her book signing party, which was kind of cool. And so it's a lot of fun. I've been very privileged to perform in front of, did some stuff with Jerry Lewis, so it's been very cool for me.
Nice. And for the future, I know you talk about maybe television and movies.
If we can.
If
We're not going to close up
possibilities are
any
out there.
doors. Right now we're concentrating on getting a real good, tight unit band-wise and concentrate more on the me and Mrs. Jones type stuff and putting out some of our own material, which we're trying to do too.
Your passion for singing comes through, you know, loud and clear. But, you know, there's got to be times that you know, it's a job, but I mean, you get up and you just, that's show business, right? You just get up and say, I'm going to go at it.
Sometimes it's tough. I'm very fortunate to say I'm one of the only entertainers in Chicago that works 5 nights a week and doing it for the last 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, there's been days that, you know, you just, it's a job. But at the end of it all, I got the greatest job in the world. I work 4 hours a night. I get to meet people all over the world, and I get to do something for a living, which I really like.
Yeah. Is there any advice you'd have for, I mean, you kind of created this whole thing. I don't see it being duplicated or replicated, but is there advice that you'd have for a younger kid that's an entertainer that wants to follow, you know, your success? What kind of
Anybody
things would
that
you
wants
tell
to try to do it, just do it. Believe in it and do it because the venues are out there, the music is out there, and you just have to have the passion for it. I've been very fortunate that there's work out there for us to do, and for the newer generation, just believe in what you believe in. Don't give up, because it can work for you.
Let me show. Well, this is Tony's CD. Me and Mrs. Jones, and it's
on Nation Records, and you can pick up the YouTube, where you can see our new music video under YouTube for Me and Mrs. Jones, and any information, you can get it on TonyOcean.net.
Yeah, the video is great. You know, also, too, we were talking earlier about, you know, with the Rat Pack, with their ad-libbing and stuff, but I see you get the crowd laughing, and between you and your other entertainers.
Nicole Hertz up there with the Jack D'Amico, who plays Frank Sinatra, and Lawrence Evening that plays Sammy Davis. You know, we have a very good unit together. We've been around for a long time, and it just flows with it. And the people seem to enjoy it. We're not trying to be these three guys because there's never going to be that. But we're going to try to keep the memory alive for the older generation who grew up with these three great legends, and they're the newer kids to maybe listen to Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and maybe stop listening to some of that newer stuff that's really not music that much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think trying to duplicate it is a bad thing. Look at all the Beatles shows, the tributes, the tribute bands. I mean,
tribute shows are huge. There's so many different ones. I mean, and they do very well. People always want to go back. You know, some of the bands and the acts that were big in the 70s and the 80s and the 60s are making more money now than they were making back then because the new generation. I mean, listen, you get to a certain point, it's very hard to keep coming up with original music and original stuff. So it's always, people always want to go back to what they love. And some of the parents are bringing their kids up to listen to some of their old stuff.
Right.
I mean, look at Bon Jovi, still sells out incredibly, you know. Not too many acts can do that.
Yeah.
And still put out a new album and people like the new material. Like Springsteen is another great, you know, people like his new songs as well as his old songs. So we got to just keep pushing and keep the memory alive.
Yeah, I see nothing wrong with tribute bands. I mean, I went to see, it was the Pink Floyd tribute band. I had no idea what the guys in Pink Floyd looked like anyway. Right. So what was the difference? They were playing it note for note.
Well, you know, it's kind of weird. You see, sometimes you see these singers. I forgot the movie Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg. It's a true story. He was a guy who sang in a tribute band in a rock club, and one of the big band's lead singer quit. This guy was the guy who imitated the guy, and he became their lead singer.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Ron Onesti had a show at the Arcadia Theater, which was very cool. They had American English, which is a Beatle tribute band, been around forever. And then they had the Wings, Denny Lane and Wings. Now, that was Paul McCartney's band after he left the Beatles.
McCartney was in a band before the Beatles, or after
No,
the Beatles?
after the Beatles, called Paul McCartney and Wings. But the funny part about the Wings are still playing without McCartney, and
No, I
this
didn't know
guy,
that.
but this guy played with Wings
No kidding.
that night. It was phenomenal. It was a lot of fun.
That's
yeah.
a beautiful theater, huh?
Yeah, it's very nice there, Arcadia, sure.
Have you played at his the supper club?
I've played at his supper club many times, and a lot of the festivals that Ron does. We do about 50 Rat Pack shows a year, and a lot of them are through Ron Onesti Entertainment. So Ron's a good guy.
Yes, he is. So what shows you got coming up that you?
Well,
wanna
I'm
mention?
always Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays. We're down at Jilly's down on Rush Street. This week coming up, we got Taylor Street Italian Fest on Friday with my band, which is cool. And then Sunday we'll be there again with the Rat Pack. And we have Addison Italian Fest coming up too in about 2 weeks. And New Year's Eve, we're always at the Hyatt Hotel in Rosemont. We've been there 3 years in a row. It's an incredible time. And going to New York, going to Las Vegas, going back to Florida in January. So just got to keep rocking on.
Nice. How do you like New York?
Love New York.
Yeah.
Love the Yankees.
I think you do.
Yes, big Yankee fan.
The best team that money can buy, right?
Yeah, great team. But I love the Cubs and Sox and the Hawks. So it's good. Yeah, very good.
So, well, look for Tony Ocean on TonyOcean.net. All
Yeah.
the information's there. And I don't know what else. I missed a couple things here, but watch for Tony. I don't know what else to say here.
Good luck on your show. It's very good.
Yeah, it's it's a good avenue. It's a good avenue for people like us. I think maybe one of the things I wanted to ask you quickly about is the credit for the Italian people should get. You know, the movies, the Godfathers, and all that stuff. Everybody loves to watch them. But if you take all that, the violence and all that kind of stuff out of there and stuff, what's left is a great family stories. You know what I mean?
Very true. And I think, you know what, I know the Italians had a lot of bad rap when it comes to that mafia stuff and stuff like that. But I think what also made The Sopranos pretty successful on the television, they showed their everyday life.
Yeah.
They showed them fighting with the kids in the school and their arguments and stuff like that. And I think that's what made it different compared to like The Godfather or Goodfellas and other stuff. I mean, there's great Italian chefs and great Italian singers and there's a lot more stuff that people need to realize.
Yeah.
It's just not about that. But, and another thing, it's kind of funny The Sopranos with all the Emmys they've won, you know, they won more Emmys than any other show on cable history.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot for a television show.
Sure it is. I mean, if you take all that up, but I think we got a lot to be proud of.
Yeah, we absolutely do. Yeah.
But one of my favorite scenes, though, I mean, talk about reality, is when he opens up the refrigerator and he takes, I think, the cup of coffee and smells it first before he eats it. I mean, how many times has people done that?
And that's what people say. A lot of the stuff that's it's family oriented, fighting with the wife, fighting with the kids. It's not all just about bang bang and this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Which, but Italians have a lot, and Chicago is a great city for the Italian community.
Yeah.
And they put on some great Italian festivals and great Italian associations. I'm proud to be Italian. It's
Yeah,
a
you
nice
know,
thing.
that's kind of why I brought that point up, is because you show your Italian pride, obviously in your music.
I would have liked to kept my real name. Maurizio Carrara is my real name, and I'd like to use that, but no one can ever pronounce it.
Maurizio.
Maurizio, yeah. So, but I'm proud of that, and what's a shame is some of the younger generation are not learning the language. A lot of Italian Americans that I know, a lot of them don't speak Italian.
Yeah.
Because sometimes their parents, when they were coming here, didn't want them to learn Italian. I was fortunate enough to learn both, and it's been good for me. So.
Yeah, I'm a case of that. You know, I mean, the big thing was they wanted you to be Americanized.
Yeah.
You know, things happen and mistakes get made, but to show, I mean, you can see the pride that's still there with the festivals that are going on. The one you mentioned, Addison.
Right. The Taylor Street, the one on Oakley
Taylor
they do
Street.
every year. Columbus Day, always I was in the parade there last year, so it's a good thing.
And the
Chicago's
Sicilian one, can't forget that.
Can't forget that one either.
That's my town. That's the town
your town,
from
absolutely.
Alta Villa Medici.
Sure, right.
Have you performed in Italy?
Yes, at a place called El Ciocco, which is an Italian resort, and I got to sing 50% Italian and 50% English, which is really kind of cool.
Did you take a band with you?
I had just a piano player then, but it was a great experience. All my family's up there. All
Really?
my cousins, grandparents. I only have my mother here and my sister. That's
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Nice.
it's nice. Have you been to Italy at all?
Yeah, a couple times. Went for a honeymoon and all that stuff. But
Great.
I love it. You know, it's like one of those things everybody wants to be Italian.
Yeah.
They want to eat like us. They want to talk like us.
But we have the best food, I think, and some of the greatest actors that came out. I mean, you have Pacino, you have De Niro, you have Danny Aiello.
Yeah. Out of Chicago, Joe Mantegna.
Joe Mantegna, great Chicago actor. And they do a lot for the Chicagoland area. They come back into town and they embrace the city, which is very cool. It's a great city.
You think in our lifetime we'll see an Italian president?
Frank Sinatra could have been, but that's it. No, I don't think. Giuliani maybe, but I don't think that's going to happen. No.
Well, Lee Iacocca, I guess, had a good shot, but
He had a good shot, too.
I don't know. So we're headed with that. Once again, the Tony Ocean Show. Here's the CD, and I got a little gift for you before I take off. Here's some cannolis for you.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I will
But,
enjoy those.
What do you see for the future besides?
Well, like I
all the
said, we're
things that
trying to
you
put out some
mentioned?
new material and get a little bit of tighter of a show. Try to get a little bit more tighter with the band. And eventually that's when I do eliminate the backing tracks completely. And we're this close. We're close. But the band is good. And like I said, any information, TonyOcean.net. Check the new video for me and Mrs. Jones on YouTube. Over 235,000 hits. That's really good.
That's a lot.
Very
That's a
good.
lot.
And we're on Facebook too, so that's kind of neat. And we just got to keep pushing.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You know
Vince.
what? There was one other thing we were going to do. What time is it, by the way, anyway?
Oh, it's almost 7:30.
Oh, you know, I got to go. Can you just wrap this up for me, all right?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks
okay.
for being here.
Sure, Vince.
It was it
No
was truly a
problem.
pleasure. But you know, I'm a busy guy. I know you're a busy guy too.
You're a busy guy.
But I got to go. So
okay.
good luck with the show.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Tony.
Well, thank you, Vince.
All right.
Well, you've just been watching the Vince LoCascio show, and he's a busy guy. What are you going to do? Sleep warm, everybody.